feel like I got to be lower.
So Ron, why was it important to get this done now at this time of the season? Is there a message you want to send about the commitment to the future?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the first restricted free agent signing for the organization, so I think it it sends a message. Certainly in Jared's case, he's excited to be in Seattle. Excited, as a lot of our players are, the way the ownership and management treats the players. Excited about the passionate fan base and the city itself, and want to be here as we build this thing and become more and more successful.
What has Jared done this year to convince you that this is where he's going to be for the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, he's our leading scorer to this point. He's even missed some games early in the year with kind of a mixed up COVID thing, and then last week. So he's continued to play well. We've used him in the wing for most of the time, and then had to move him into the middle with injuries. He's handled that extremely well. He's a guy that, in my opinion, has a shot that can beat a goaltender from a distance. And that's not something everybody has. So we like the goal scoring aspect to his game as well.
Ron, when you see what Jared has done this season, is this meeting the expectations of what you had for him when you selected him, or is there an element of pleasant surprise in what he's done?
Well, I think we always thought he had the potential to do that. When we looked at sort of his numbers and kind of his use was, we thought there was a little bit more in his game that hopefully could come out. So you're always pleasantly surprised when it does happen. And certainly, I think he's had that kind of season where he's stepping forward. You look at his age too; he's still 25. I know he turns 26 the end of May, but he's still young, and we think he's got a lot of good years ahead of him moving forward.
Ron, what was the timeline here in terms of engaging with Jared and his agent?
Yeah, I talked with Joe Resnick, his agent, just before the All-Star break, and just said, hey, we'll take a look at things. And we had, I guess, numerous dialogue over the course of the season, and I think there was mutual interest on both sides to get something going. So I told him before the All-Star break I'd get back to him after, and then we had some conversations, and I'm glad we were able to work something out that we think is beneficial for both sides.
Are there any other players you're working on similar efforts with that you might?
Not at the moment. I mean, he was a restricted free agent with arbitration rights in the summer, so that was kind of a big one for us. But certainly we're looking at, we have guys that are unrestricted, guys that are restricted, so we'll continue to look at those as we move forward.
All right, we'll do the Zoom portion now, so Lindsay, can you take us away here?
Yeah, sure thing. We'll start with Andy. Go ahead.
Hey, Ron, I'm curious. The other day you talked about identifying your core players that are currently on the roster. Obviously, you feel that way about Jared on the ice, but interested in what kind of role he can play off the ice as a leader with his team.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a very kind of unassuming kid. Doesn't have a big ego. Genuinely a good person. So those are the kind of people you want in your organization, guys with character, and they can lead you on the ice, but they can certainly lead you in the locker room and off the ice as well in the community. So it's exciting to have him part of our group for the next 5 years, plus the rest of this year.
Ryan Clark.
Hey, Ron, two-part question. The first is, Jared's talked a lot about having security. What does it mean to know that you've been able to give that to a player who's moved around a lot? And second, as much as you can talk about it, what was sort of the key to kind of finding the right number for those UFA years? Because it seemed like that was going to be one of the biggest sticking points for any sort of extension for a guy like him.
Yeah, no, I think you look at his career, he's had much shorter term deals. So I think when a player has the opportunity to get a longer term deal, it's certainly reassuring. You can sort of settle down, plan your life a little bit more, knowing you're going to be hopefully in one location for the next 5 years. And, I think when you look at a contract, there's a lot of things that go into it on both sides. I mean, you're looking at guys you think are comparables. You're trying to put a value on his restricted free agent year. You're trying to put a value on the unrestricted free agent years. And then you kind of piece it all together and you have that dialogue and you go back and forth and have those discussions. And working with Joe and Jared, it was never contentious. It was always having the open, honest discussions and getting to the point where we felt that both sides were comfortable with the deal, and that's why it got done the way it did.
Mike?
Hey, Ron, Jared previously mentioned about the value of feeling wanted, even more so here versus previous stops. What can you identify as far as team culture that has set him up for success?
Yeah, no, I think every player, you feel wanted, you feel like you have more confidence in your game, and you perform better on the ice. So, I'm glad that he feels that way. I think that goes to Hack and the coaching staff, and having conversations with him and other players. Whether it's in the locker room, on the ice, or practice, putting him in situations where they have an opportunity to be successful. And certainly, Jared's had that this year. We've asked him, like I said before, to play multiple positions. He hasn't complained. He's responded, played well, and gave us back a lot of goals for the trust that we've put in him. So it's exciting to hear he feels that way about us.
Anything else here in person before we cut it? All right. Thanks, Ron.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it. All right.